Listen to me. There comes a point in your life when you have to stop negotiating with your excuses. You got dream, you got goals, you got something deep in your spirit that keeps you awake at night. But every time you get close, every time you take one step forward, that little voice in your head talks you out of it. I'm tired. I'll start tomorrow. It's too hard. It's not the right time. No more. Today is the day you declare war on your excuses. See, everybody wants success, but not everybody wants to be held accountable. Everybody wants the results, but not everybody wants the discipline. But discipline, not desire, is what builds champions. You think greatness is about talent? No, it's about showing up when nobody claps. It's about doing the work even when your feelings don't agree. Your feelings don't get a vote in your future. Your grind does. Your habits do. Your discipline does. Listen, you can't keep giving your time, your energy, your life away to excuses. Excuses don't pay bills. Excuses don't build legacies. Excuses don't change your family tree. Discipline does. Accountability does. I need you to look in the mirror and tell yourself the truth, not the cute truth. Not the cute truth. The real truth. Are you showing up every day? Are you consistent? Are you committed? Are you hungry? Because the gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with one thing: discipline. Not talent, not luck, not motivation. Discipline, and hear me, discipline is not punishment. Discipline is your passport. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. It's the difference between one die and a day one. Hold yourself accountable. Stop waiting for someone else to push you. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop blaming people who aren't even thinking about you. You owe yourself the life you said you wanted. You owe yourself the effort. You owe yourself the discipline. So starting today, no more excuses. Wake up earlier. Work harder. Stay focused longer. Protect your energy. Guard your habits. And don't stop until your future self shakes your hand and says, thank you for not giving up. Discipline over excuses. That's how you win. That's how you build a legacy. That's how you become the best version of yourself. Discipline is the foundation of every long-term success, because without it, nothing else you build can stand. You can have the biggest dreams, the most brilliant idea, the talent that makes people stare in amazement, but none of that matters if you can't show up consistently. People forget that greatness isn't built in the spotlight. It's formed in the dark, in the quiet hours when nobody sees you, nobody celebrates you, and nobody tells you a good job. That's where discipline lives. It lives in the early mornings when your body wants to sleep, but your purpose wants you awake. It lives in the late nights when your friends are relaxing, but you're grinding. It lives in that moment when your feelings tell you to quit, but your commitment tells you to push. Discipline is the foundation because it doesn't rely on mood. It doesn't rely on inspiration. It doesn't rely on hype. Anybody can get excited for a moment. Anybody can set a goal on January 1st. Anybody can promise to change when life gets hard. Hype fades, feelings shift, motivation comes and goes. But discipline is different. It is a steady, unshakable force that stabilizes everything. When you build your life on discipline, you build on something you can trust. You build on something that won't disappear at the first sign of struggle. You build on something that will carry you through the storm when excitement has run out. Discipline is the promise you make to yourself and keep even when keeping it hurts. And the truth is, success requires pain, not the kind of pain that breaks you, but the kind that shapes you. The kind that demands sacrifice, the kind that pulls you out of comfort and pushes you into growth. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they are unwilling to experience temporary discomfort for long-term reward. They want the results without the repetition. They want the glory without the grind. But discipline doesn't negotiate. Discipline asks you every day, are you willing to do what's required? Not just what's convenient. Everything meaningful you want in life demands discipline. A strong body demands discipline. A thriving business demands discipline. A healthy relationship demands discipline. A successful career demands discipline. You can't cheat the process. You can't hack your way around consistency. People look for shortcuts, but the shortcut always circles you right back to where you started. Every time. Shortcuts cost you time. energy, credibility, and confidence. Confidence. Discipline builds all of those. Discipline gives you momentum. Every day you keep a promise to yourself, you build identity, you build belief, you build certainty. You begin to trust yourself at a deeper level, and that trust becomes fuel. When you have discipline, you don't wait for the perfect moment to begin. You don't wait for the stars to align. You start where you are with what you have, and you make that enough. Discipline teaches you to work with imperfection. It teaches you to fight through challenges. It teaches you that progress doesn't always look pretty, but progress is progress. A disciplined person doesn't say, I'll start tomorrow. They say, I'll start now. A disciplined person doesn't say, I don't feel like it. They say, I'll do it anyway. A disciplined person doesn't wait for opportunities. They create them through repetition, mastery, and consistency. Discipline is freedom. People think discipline restricts you, but it actually liberates you from the chaos of inconsistency. It frees you from the consequences of procrastination. It frees you from the stress of last-minute efforts. It frees you from the anxiety of being unprepared. When you're disciplined, you live proactively, not reactively. You walk into situations knowing you've done the work. You walk into challenges knowing you're ready. That confidence can't be bought. It can't be gifted. It can only be earned through disciplined action. Long-term success is built brick by brick, and every brick is a disciplined choice. One choice to wake up early. One choice to study instead of scroll. One choice to practice instead of procrastinate. One choice to keep going instead of quitting. People want the castle, but they don't want to lay the bricks. They want the finished product without the process. But discipline is the process. It's the daily construction of your future. Every choice you make either builds or breaks your foundation. Most people underestimate how powerful small habits are. They think discipline means doing something dramatic. But discipline is doing the simple things consistently. Drinking water instead of soda. Reading 10 pages instead of none. Working out for 20 minutes instead of skipping the day. Riding for 15 minutes instead of waiting for inspiration. These small actions compound over time. They become systems, and systems make success sustainable. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of discipline. Goals set your direction, but discipline drives your journey. Your mind is the battlefield where discipline wins or loses. Your body will obey your thoughts, but your thoughts must be trained. Discipline is mental strength. It's saying no when everyone else says yes. It's staying focused while the world is distracting you. It's protecting your time like it's treasure, because it is. Time is the currency of success, and discipline determines how you spend it. When you waste time, you lose opportunity. When you manage time with discipline, you multiply results. Discipline also forces you to confront yourself. It removes excuses. It eliminates blame. It makes you responsible for your own outcomes. It's easy to point fingers. It's easy to explain why you didn't succeed. But discipline says, a look inward first. When you develop discipline, you stop depending on external factors. You stop relying on luck. You stop waiting for someone to save you. You take ownership of your progress, your growth, your destiny. That ownership is power. That ownership is adulthood. That ownership is transformation. A disciplined life requires structure. It requires routines. It requires clarity. You must be clear about what you want and ruthless about what you allow. You can't have discipline with chaos. You can't have focus with clutter. You can't have progress with distraction. Discipline forces you to clean your environment, external and internal. It forces you to set boundaries, cut off toxic influences, and establish priorities. Not everything deserves your attention. Not everything deserves your energy. Discipline teaches you to protect your resources because they are limited. Discipline is also about forgiveness, not excuses. Discipline doesn't demand perfection. Perfection is impossible. But discipline demands persistence. It demands you get back up when you fall. It demands you stay committed even when you slip. A disciplined person doesn't give up after one bad day. They reset, they refocus, they realign. They keep moving. That's what separates success from stagnation. Not perfection, persistent. Success is not an event. It's a lifestyle, it's a mindset. It's a pattern of disciplined behaviors repeated over months, years, and decades. Some people get temporary wins because they rely on talent or luck, but they don't last. They crumble under pressure because their foundation is weak. The people who endure, the people who rise again after failure, the people who maintain excellence, they built their lives on discipline. They build habits that hold them steady even when life tries to shake them. Discipline also attracts opportunities. People trust disciplined individuals. Employers trust them. Partners trust them. Teams trust them. Leaders trust them. A disciplined person becomes reliable. When you prove you can manage yourself, people believe you can manage responsibility. That leads to promotions, partnerships, and possibilities. People think success is about being noticed, but real success is about being dependable. The world rewards consistency because consistency is rare, but discipline requires sacrifice. You must be willing to say no when others say yes. You must be willing to delay gratification. You must be willing to walk a path that is narrower and harder than the easy road. That is why so few people achieve excellence. They're unwilling to pay the price. But everything you want is on the other side of commitment. Everything you dream of sits behind effort, sacrifice, patience, and discipline. If it were easy, everyone would have it. The difficulty is what makes it valuable. When you build discipline, you develop resilience. You become someone who can endure setbacks without breaking. Discipline strengthens your character. It makes you tougher, sharper, more focused. It turns obstacles into opportunities for growth. It teaches you that failure is not final unless you choose to stop. When you've lived a disciplined life, you know how to fight through challenges. You know how to keep going, even when the finish line is far away. You know how to trust the process, even when the results are slow. Discipline is the foundation because every achievement, every breakthrough, every transformation begins with the choice to be consistent. You can't control everything in life, but you can control your effort. You can control your habits. You can control your discipline. And when you control those, you put yourself in the best position to win. Every time the excuses weaken your potential while discipline multiplies it. Because every time you choose an excuse, you shrink the distance between who you are and who you could have been. Excuses feel small, harmless, even logical in the moment, but they quietly chip away at your strength, your confidence, your momentum. One excuse becomes two become 10. Before you even realize it, you built a habit of stopping yourself before life ever gets a chance to challenge you. Excuses are silent thieves. They steal your time, your dreams, your opportunities without making a sound. They make you comfortable with being less than what you're capable of. They teach you to settle. They convince you that the problem is outside of you when the real obstacles are the stories you repeat inside your mind. But discipline does the opposite. Discipline multiplies your potential by turning ordinary days into extraordinary progress. Turn small steps into giant leaps. It turns effort into excellence. When you rely on excuses, you hand over your power. You shift responsibility to circumstances, people, timing, anything except yourself. You tell yourself you couldn't because of the weather, because of your schedule, because you were tired, because things didn't go your way. And the moment you believe your excuses, you stop believing in your abilities. You start to rewrite your identity based on limits instead of possibilities. But discipline takes that power back. Discipline puts the responsibility in your hands and reminds you that excuses may be true, but they are never useful. You can acknowledge challenges without surrendering to them. You can see problems without letting them become reasons to quit. Discipline refuses to let external conditions determine internal decisions. Every excuse you make strengthens a muscle you don't want to grow. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, you strengthen a muscle that shapes everything, your character. Discipline multiplies your potential because it expands your capacity. It stretches what you think is possible. It pushes you to operate at a level beyond your comfort zone. Excuses do the opposite. They shrink your capacity. They teach you to avoid pressure. They make you allergic to discomfort. And if you avoid discomfort long enough, you avoid growth. You can't grow without friction. You can't evolve without effort. You can't transform without stretching yourself. Excuses keep you exactly where you are, while discipline pulls you toward where you want to be. Excuses are dangerous because they sound reasonable. They sound practical. They sound like self-care. But most excuses are not about protecting your well-being. They are about protecting your comfort. They're designed to shield you from hard work, risk, effort, accountability. The mind loves comfort because comfort requires nothing. But comfort also produces nothing. Excuses bring temporary relief, but long-term regret. They help you avoid discomfort now, but force you to face disappointment later. Discipline brings temporary struggle, but long-term reward. Discipline asks for effort now, but gives you pride and achievement later. You must choose which pain you prefer, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Every person who has ever achieved something significant had a mountain of obstacles, just like you. They had days they didn't feel like working. They had setbacks. They had failure, but they didn't allow their excuses to become their identity. They built a habit of showing up anyway. You think champions feel motivated every day? They don't. They're disciplined, not motivated. They do what needs to be done, not because they always enjoy it, but because they value the result more than the excuse. Excuses focus on the short term. Discipline focuses on the long term. Excuses protect today. Discipline protects the future. Excuses weaken your potential because they limit your exposure to growth environments. When you avoid challenges, you never learn new skills. When you avoid practice, you never develop mastery. When you avoid risk, you never build courage. When you avoid effort, you never build strength. And when you avoid accountability, you never build confidence. A life built on excuses is a life built on limitation. You begin to see the world through the lens of what you can't do instead of what you can become. That lens becomes your reality, but discipline rewrites your lens. It teaches you to see obstacles as opportunities, to see difficulty as development, to see limitations as lessons. Discipline gives you a new way of looking at life, a mindset that says, if I don't know how to do it, I'll learn. If it's uncomfortable, I'll grow through it. If it's hard, I'll rise to it. That mindset multiplies your potential over and over again. Every time you choose discipline, you build internal strength. Your mindset grows. Your resilience grows. Your capacity grows. You begin to trust yourself because you become someone who keeps promises. The excuses break that trust. When you promise yourself you'll start today, but you don't, your brain learns not to take you seriously. When you say you'll commit but fail to follow through, you lose confidence in your own word. Soon, even your goals begin to feel unrealistic because deep down, you don't trust yourself to do the work required. But discipline restores that trust. Every time you follow through, even in small ways, your confidence multiplies. You become someone you can depend on. And when you depend on yourself, your potential becomes limitless. Excuses often come disguised as logic. You say, I can't, because I don't have enough time. But discipline will help you create time. You say, I can't, because I don't know where to start. But discipline teaches you that starting imperfectly is better than waiting indefinitely. You say, I can't, because I'm not ready. But discipline shows you that readiness comes from repetition. If you wait for perfect conditions, you'll wait your whole life. Successful people aren't lucky. They are disciplined enough to take imperfect action again and again until it becomes extraordinary. They build their future through consistency, not convenience. Excuses weaken your potential because they disconnect your actions from your goals. You want success, but your habits don't match your desires. You want results, but your decisions contradict your ambitions. Every excuse is a vote for the weaker version of yourself. Every disciplined choice is a vote for the stronger version. Your life becomes whatever version you vote for most consistently. Potential is not determined by ability, it is determined by alignment. When your daily actions align with your goals, your potential expands. When your daily actions oppose your goals, your potential contracts. Excuses create misalignment. Discipline creates harmony. People often underestimate how much excuses cost them. They think it's just one skipped day, one skipped opportunity, one skipped effort. But excuses compound. They create patterns. They create habits. They create lifestyle. And eventually they create identities. If you make excuses long enough, you become someone who genuinely believes success isn't possible for you. You begin to describe yourself as unlucky, unmotivated, or not disciplined. But none of those identities are true. They are just excuses that harden into beliefs, and beliefs shape behavior. Discipline breaks that cycle. Discipline doesn't care about how you used to think. It only cares about what you choose today. It replaces the identity of I can't with I we. It replaces doubt with determination. It replaces limitation with action. Discipline multiplies your potential because it compels you to challenge yourself. When you push yourself consistently, you start to discover abilities you didn't know you had. You uncover strengths that were buried under comfort. You learn skills that only reveal themselves through repetition. Discipline unlocks layers of potential that excuses keep hidden. You begin to realize that the version of you that lives under excuses is only a fraction of what you're capable of. Discipline introduces you to the greater version of yourself. Excuses also weaken your potential because they isolate you from progress-oriented environments. A person who lives in excuses gravitates toward others who justify stagnation. But discipline attracts disciplined people. It places you around individuals who push, challenge, and inspire you. People who hold you accountable, people who refuse to let you settle for average. And when your environment is strong, your potential grows exponentially. Excuses keep you reactive. Discipline makes you proactive. A reactive life is controlled by circumstances. A proactive life is controlled by choices. Excuses give circumstances permission to dictate your outcomes. Discipline gives your decisions the power to shape your destiny. When you live reactively, you feel powerless. When you live proactively, you feel unstoppable. And ultimately, excuses weaken your potential because they steal your time. And time is the most valuable currency in existence. You cannot redeem wasted years. You cannot rewind missed opportunities. You cannot recover time that was spent protecting comfort instead of pursuing purpose. Discipline honors time. It transforms each day into progress. It turns every hour into investment. It ensures that when you look back, you see growth instead of regret. Excuses give you a moment of comfort. Discipline gives you a lifetime of strength. Excuses give you temporary relief. Discipline gives you permanent transformation. Excuses keep you average. Discipline makes you exceptional. And when the day comes that you finally choose discipline consistently, your potential will expand in ways you never imagined. Your feelings don't determine your future. Your habits do, because feelings change constantly, shifting with your mood, your energy, your environment, your situations, your fears, and your doubts. You can wake up motivated and feel unstoppable one day, then wake up the next day exhausted, discouraged, or overwhelmed. If your future depended on your feelings, your life would look exactly like your emotions. Up one day, down the next. Committed today, quitting tomorrow. Focused in the morning, distracted by the afternoon. You will be building your destiny on something unstable, unpredictable, and fragile. Feelings are temporary, habits are permanent. Feelings are the weather, habits are the climate. And if you want to build something real, something lasting, something powerful, you need habits strong enough to stand even when your emotions collapse. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or dreams. They fail because they wait to feel ready before they take action. They wait to feel inspired before they start. They wait to feel confident before they commit. But feelings are never on schedule. If you depend on them, you will never start the journey that could change your life. The greatest mistake people make is assuming that successful, disciplined, committed individuals always feel like doing the work. They don't. They feel tired. They feel stressed. They feel frustrated. They feel unmotivated, just like you. The difference is that champions refuse to negotiate with their feelings. They don't ask themselves, do I feel like working today? They ask, what am I supposed to do today? And then they do it. Feelings are no feelings. Habits shape your future because habits are actions repeated so many times. They become part of your identity. They become automatic. You no longer have to negotiate with yourself. You no longer struggle with decision fatigue. Good habits create consistency, and consistency creates excellence. When you train yourself to show up every day, even with low energy, even with low motivation, even when you're frustrated, you're building a foundation that feelings can't shake. A disciplined person still experiences emotions, but their habits drive the direction of their life, not the fluctuations of their mood. Your feelings can lie to you. They tell you you're tired when you have more energy left. They tell you you're done when you're only 40% in. They tell you you're not good enough, not talented enough, not ready enough. They tell you you should wait. They tell you you should pause. They tell you it's too hard. If you listen to your feelings, you become a slave to temporary discomfort. But habits tell the truth. Habits don't care about your doubts. They don't care about your fears. They don't care about your insecurities. Habits remind you of what you are committed to. Habits remind you that motion creates progress. Habits remind you that consistency is stronger than emotion. People underestimate how dangerous it is to allow feelings to drive their decisions. Feelings create inconsistency. One day you feel like working out, the next day you don't. One day you feel like studying, the next day you're distracted. One day you feel confident, the next day you're scared. If your future depends on something as unstable as feelings, you'll live your life in cycles of starting and stopping, rising and falling, committing and quitting. You'll never build lasting momentum. Requires discipline, not emotion. Discipline, not emotion. But habits create self-momentum. Habits create routine. Habits create structure. When you build strong habits, you no longer wake up asking yourself what you should do. You wake up already knowing what happens next. That clarity eliminates resistance. It removes hesitation. It reduces fear. You no longer rely on inspiration. You rely on identity. You become the kind of person who acts, not the kind of person who waits. You become the kind of person who works, not the kind of person who wishes. Think about the people who succeed at the highest level. Athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, artists, professionals. Their schedules are not based on feelings. They are based on habits. They train at the same time. They practice the same drill. They study the same material. They refine the same skill day after day, week after week, year after year. They are consistent long after the feeling of excitement fades. That is what separates greatness from mediocrity. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not passion. It's repeated action. It's disciplined habit. It's the commitment to doing what is required, not what feels comfortable. Your future is shaped by what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally feel. Copy someone. You may feel motivated once in a while, but if you don't have habits that support your goals, motivation evaporates the moment life gets difficult. You may feel passionate about your dreams, but passion without discipline is just a temporary high. You may feel inspired today, but if you don't follow through tomorrow, the inspiration becomes meaningless. Your habits are the true evidence of your intention. You can talk about your goals all day. You can dream. You can visualize, but your habits reveal what you actually want. Your habits show what you're committed to. Feelings are powerful, but they're unreliable. They come from memories, fears, assumptions, and insecurities. They are influenced by weather, sleep, stress, people, and environment. Habits are reliable because they are built through repetition. You create habits intentionally and reinforce them through action. Once a habit is formed, it becomes easier to follow than to break. Good habits elevate you. Bad habits bury you. And your life is the sum of both. Every time you choose a habit over a feeling, you strengthen your future self. You develop resilience. You develop self-control. You develop mental toughness. You learn how to operate even when the world around you is chaotic. You learn how to stay focused even when life throws distractions. You learn how to keep going even when your emotions try to pull you backward. Habits protect you from falling when your feelings fluctuate. Every meaningful transformation you want, physical, emotional, financial, academic, relational, requires that your habits overpower your feelings. Want a healthier body? Your habit of working out must be stronger than the feeling of being tired. Want a successful career? Your habit of practicing must be stronger than the feeling of boredom. Want a business to grow? Your habit of consistency must be stronger than the feeling of discouragement. Want emotional maturity? Your habit of patience must be stronger than the feeling of anger. Want to pursue your dreams? Your habit of discipline must be stronger than the feeling of fear. Your habits don't eliminate your feelings. They just prevent your feelings from making decisions for you. You can feel scared and still move forward. You can feel tired and still show up. You can feel unsure and still take action. You can feel overwhelmed and still stay committed. That is the essence of maturity. That is the essence of growth. That is the essence of success. When you act only when you feel like it, you become inconsistent. But when you act from habit, you become unstoppable. Your habits become the engine that keeps you moving regardless of your emotional state. Over time, your habits create results. Your results create confidence. Your confidence creates belief, and your belief fuels your future. This cycle expands your potential, reshapes your identity, and transforms your life. There will always be days when your feelings tell you to stop. Days when the work feels too hard. Days when progress seems slow. Days when your goals feel far away. Days when your mind is full of noise. That is when habits matter most. That is when your discipline separates you from the version of yourself that used to quit. Most people give up not because they are incapable, but because they rely on feelings to push them through moments that only discipline can navigate. If you want to break cycles, you need habits that break pattern. Emotions come and go, but your habits will stay with you for life. If your habits are strong, your future will be strong. If your habits are weak, your future will be fragile. Your life will always rise or fall to the level of your habits, not your feelings. And the moment you finally accept that your future cannot be built on emotion, but must be built on disciplined action, everything changes. You stop waiting. You stop negotiating. You stop hesitating. You stop allowing temporary discomfort to delay permanent progress. You start acting with purpose. You start moving with clarity. You start showing up with consistency. You start becoming who you were meant to be. Because your feelings can be unpredictable, but your habits can be unstoppable. And the future belongs to the unstoppable. Accountability requires honesty, not comfort, because if you want to achieve anything meaningful in life, you must first face yourself. You cannot build a legacy by pretending, by making excuses, or by convincing yourself that things are okay when they're not. Most people avoid accountability because it's uncomfortable. They fear the truth. They fear admitting mistakes. They fear taking responsibility for outcomes that don't meet expectations. But comfort never creates progress. Comfort never challenges you. Comfort keeps you in a cycle of excuses and delays, letting you drift instead of driving you toward your potential. Accountability demands honesty. It demands courage. It demands that you look in the mirror and face yourself with brutal truth. Because only when you know exactly where you stand can you start to grow. When you are honest with yourself, you stop lying about your efforts, your habits, and your commitment. You stop sugarcoating failure and blaming circumstances. You stop convincing yourself that you're doing enough when you're not. People will tell you that accountability is about pleasing others or checking boxes, but true accountability begins inside. It begins with you telling yourself the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is. It begins with acknowledging that the choices you make today shape the results you'll have tomorrow. And that honesty is not punishment, it's a tool. It's a foundation for growth. It's the compass that guides you out of mediocrity. Accountability exposes the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Most people fail to see this gap because they are too comfortable hiding behind excuses or blaming external factors. They justify their underperformance with reasons that sound reasonable. Didn't have enough time. I wasn't ready. It wasn't the right moment. But those are lies we tell ourselves to avoid facing the truth, that the only person responsible for change in our life is us. Accountability refuses to let you escape that truth. It doesn't negotiate with excuses. It doesn't accept almost. It demands that you recognize the difference between your intentions and your actions. That recognition is uncomfortable, but it is also liberating. Once you see the truth, you can act with purpose rather than wandering aimlessly through life hoping for luck to carry you. When you commit to honesty, you develop clarity. You see your strengths, your weaknesses, and the areas that need improvement. You no longer pretend you are further along than you are, because that pretense only keeps you stagnant. You begin to track progress, analyze patterns, and confront the areas where you fall short. You realize that excuses are masks you worn to hide from yourself. Once the mask is removed, you can operate with precision. Accountability gives you a framework to measure your efforts objectively. It allows you to see whether you are truly putting in the work required or simply going through the motions. And when you operate from honesty, You stop making choices based on perception and start making choices based on results. Accountability is uncomfortable because it exposes the reality that failure is always an option, and that when failure occurs, it's often a reflection of your own decisions. No one enjoys facing the consequences of their actions. No one likes admitting they didn't do enough, didn't try hard enough, or didn't prepare properly. But comfort is the enemy of growth, and avoiding accountability is the ultimate comfort. You must be willing to face your mistakes, your lapses, your errors, and your shortcomings. You must embrace discomfort and use it as a catalyst for action. Every time you dodge accountability, you weaken your potential. Every time you embrace it, you grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. True accountability also requires breaking through denial. Denial is a dangerous cushion that protects your ego but stagnates your progress. When you deny responsibility, you outsource control of your life to external factors. You become a passenger, not a driver. The world becomes something that happens to you rather than something you influence. But when you embrace accountability, you accept that you are in the driver's seat. You recognize that the choices you make, the habits you cultivate, and the effort you invest directly determine your outcomes. That recognition is power, is freedom, is liberation from the chains of excuses and victim mentality. And while it's uncomfortable at first, that discomfort is the sign of transformation and progress. Accountability demands that you hold yourself to high standards, not low ones. Many people avoid accountability because it forces them to raise the bar, to admit that their current performance isn't enough. They fear the discipline, the rigor, and the scrutiny that comes with true ownership of their actions. But accountability is not about self-punishment. It is about self-elevation. It forces you to see your full potential and confront the ways in which you have under-delivered. The moment you embrace that challenge, you set yourself on a trajectory of continual growth. You no longer settle for mediocrity because you know that your results are the direct product of your effort and your discipline. Being accountable means tracking progress relentlessly. It means reviewing your choices, reflecting on outcomes, and adjusting strategies. It is not enough to say, I did my best if your best is inconsistent or insufficient. Accountability requires that you measure your actions against your goals and standards. It requires that you ask yourself tough questions daily. Am I doing enough? Am I consistent? Am I improving? Am I staying disciplined? And when the answer is no, you take immediate action to correct course. Accountability doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't accept excuses. It confronts you with reality and compels you to act. Accountability also strengthens your character because it forces you to live with integrity. When you are honest about your performance, your strengths, and your weaknesses, you build credibility with yourself and others. You develop trust in your own word. You learn that promises mean something and that your reputation is earned through consistent, disciplined action. People respect accountability. Leaders respect accountability. Teams respect accountability, but it starts with you. No one else can hold you to the standard you set for yourself. No one else can enforce the discipline required to close the gap between your potential and your result. You must be your own toughest critic and your own greatest champion simultaneously. Accountability is not a one-time event. It is a lifestyle. It requires daily reflection, constant evaluation, and persistent correction. You will make mistakes and you will fail at times, but accountability ensures that failure becomes feedback, not defeat. It forces you to examine what went wrong, why it went wrong, and how to prevent it in the future. It creates a mindset that treats setbacks as lessons rather than catastrophes. It develops resilience because you learn that while discomfort is inevitable, growth is optional, but always achievable through honest effort. Most people avoid accountability because it is lonely. It requires that you face your own shortcomings without the comfort of blame or denial. It requires that you admit when you are wrong, that you accept responsibility for mistakes, and that you push yourself to do better next time. But the loneliness of accountability is temporary. The results it produces are permanent. It builds confidence, it builds competence, it builds respect. It builds a life that others will notice and respect because it is built on real effort, honesty, and ownership. Accountability also amplifies your discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. And accountability ensures that you actually do it. Without accountability, discipline can falter because there is no internal or external standard enforcing follow through. But when you embrace accountability, every action, every choice, every moment becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are capable, committed, and consistent. That consistency compounds over time, producing exponential growth that feels impossible until you look back and see how far you've come. Being accountable transforms your mindset. It shifts you from a reactive person who blames circumstances to a proactive person who controls their destiny. It teaches you that the only thing you can truly control is your effort, your response, and your commitment. Circumstances will always challenge you. People will always disappoint you. Life will always throw obstacles in your path, but accountability ensures that those obstacles don't define you. Your actions define you. Your response defines you. Your habits define you. Your results define you. When you are honest with yourself, you stop tolerating mediocrity. You stop accepting subpar effort. You stop rationalizing failure. You demand more from yourself because you know that your potential is limitless if you are willing to take ownership. Accountability makes excuses irrelevant. It replaces denial with clarity, apathy with action, hesitation with decisiveness, and fear with courage. It forces you to operate at a higher standard than you ever imagined possible because you know that your success is non-negotiable. It depends on you and no one else. Accountability is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It transforms intentions into action, dreams into results, and effort into achievement. Every day you hold yourself to honest standards, you become stronger, sharper, more disciplined, and more focused. Every time you refuse to make excuses and embrace responsibility, you multiply your potential. Every time you face yourself with honesty, you step closer to the life you want. And while the process is uncomfortable, demanding, and challenging, the growth it produces is unparalleled, unstoppable, and undeniable. Consistency beats motivation every single time because motivation is fleeting, unreliable, and dependent on circumstances, while consistency is permanent, dependable, and under your control. Motivation is a spark, a burst of energy that lights a fire temporarily, but it fades fast. You wake up feeling inspired today, but tomorrow you might feel tired, distracted, or discouraged. If your success depended solely on motivation, your life would be a roller coaster, one day soaring, the next day plummeting. But consistency doesn't care about how you feel. Consistency is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. It's the foundation upon which all long-term achievement is built. Champions don't chase motivation. They cultivate consistency because they know that results compound over time, not overnight. People get caught up in waiting for motivation. They say, I'll start when I feel like it, or I need inspiration first. But waiting for motivation is the fastest way to stay stuck. You cannot control whether motivation shows up. You cannot schedule it. You cannot depend on it when life gets hard. Motivation is external. Consistency is internal. Consistency is a decision, a commitment, a daily choice to show up, to put in the work, to honor your goals, even when your emotions resist. Every single day you act in alignment with your goals, you are building a system that will eventually sustain success without requiring motivation to carry you. Consistency beats motivation because consistency produces result. Motivation is the desire to start. Consistency is the action that sustains. You can feel motivated, but if you don't act repeatedly, nothing happens. You can feel inspired, but if you don't practice day after day, improvement is minimal. You can want something passionately, but if you fail to follow through, that desire evaporates into regret. Results are never about how you feel in the moment. They are about what you do every single day. Consistency guarantees results because it turns intention into action, and action into habit. And habits, over time, shape identity and destiny. Consistency also builds discipline. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is strengthened every time you choose to act despite lacking motivation. When you show up repeatedly, even on the days when you feel tired, uninspired, or discouraged, you develop the mental toughness that separates ordinary people from extraordinary people. Discipline grows in the gap between what you want and what you do. And what you do. It grows when you refuse to give up because the fire in your belly flickered out. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is eternal. And consistency is the engine that fuels discipline. That's why people who rely solely on motivation eventually plateau. They have no mechanism to maintain effort when enthusiasm fades. Consistency prevents plateau because it is not dependent on temporary feeling. It is embedded in your actions. Consistency multiplies over time. Small actions repeated consistently compound into extraordinary results. Writing a page every day, running a mile every morning, making one sales call, learning one skill, practicing one drill. These may seem insignificant, but repeated day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, they create exponential growth. Motivation may get you started, but consistency carries you to the finish line. Success is not a moment. Consistent effort over an extended period. That is the principle that separates dreamers from achievers. Dreamers wait for inspiration. Achievers act consistently, whether or not they feel motivated. Consistency also creates reliability. When you are consistent, you become someone who can be trusted not only by others, but by yourself. People begin to recognize that your word has weight because your actions reflect your commitments. You show up predictably, you put in the work repeatedly. You honor your promises to yourself and to others. Motivation might make you appear impressive temporarily, but without consistency, credibility fades. People respect those who consistently deliver results regardless of circumstances. They respect those who maintain standards even when the fire in their heart wavers. Reliability is built through repeated action, and repeated action is born from consistency. Consistency trains your mind to overcome resistance. Every time you push yourself to work when you don't feel like it, every time you persist through discomfort, every time you act despite doubt, you reinforce the belief that your actions are stronger than your emotions. Motivation can only take you so far because feelings are fickle. Your mind and body are often designed to resist effort. Habits and consistency override that resistance. They teach you that progress is not about comfort, but about commitment. Every day you act consistently, you are rewiring your mind to succeed, even when conditions are unfavorable. That is why consistent people rarely quit. They are trained to persist. Consistency also makes you resilient. Life is unpredictable. Motivation fluctuates. Circumstances change, challenges arise, obstacles appear. If your success depends on motivation, any setback can derail you. But if you are consistent, you have developed a system that carries you through adversity. Consistency ensures that your work continues, even in the face of difficulty. It makes you unstoppable because you are no longer relying on external feelings or conditions to determine your effort. You have built an internal engine powered by habit and reinforced through repeated action. People underestimate the power of showing up every day. They think that extraordinary results require extraordinary events. But in reality, success is rarely about grand gestures. It is about daily commitment. Consistency beats motivation because you don't need a lightning strike to act. You need routine. You need repetition. You need reliability. Every day that you show up, even when you don't feel like it, you are building momentum. Momentum is unstoppable. It carries you forward, creating a trajectory that cannot be achieved through motivation alone. Motivation gets attention. Consistency builds empires. Consistency also prevents burnout. Motivation often pushes people to overextend themselves on the days they feel inspired, only to crash later. Inconsistent effort is exhausting because it relies on peaks of enthusiasm rather than sustainable practice. But consistency creates pacing. It structures your effort so that it can be maintained indefinitely. When you act consistently, your energy is managed effectively. You learn how to distribute effort, how to follow through without overcommitting, and how to sustain performance over long periods. Motivation may ignite the fire, but consistency keeps the fire burning without consuming you. Consistency multiplies results because it compounds learning and improvement. Every repetition teaches you something. Every action refines skill. Every practice builds mastery. Motivation may start the process, but mastery is built through daily repetition. The small, consistent actions you take form the habits that eventually define your ability, your achievements, and your identity. Over time, consistent people become experts. They become leaders. They become the individuals others look up to. Motivation alone cannot create expertise. Only consistent practice, sustained effort, and unwavering commitment can do that. Consistency creates confidence. When you repeatedly show up and take action, you prove to yourself that you are reliable. You see results, no matter how small, and those results reinforce your belief in your ability to succeed. Motivation may give you temporary courage, but confidence is built through proof that you can act, persist, and achieve day after day. Every consistent action builds evidence that you are capable. Confidence and self-belief are byproducts of consistency, not motivation. Consistency is the backbone of all success story. Motivation is often the spark in the story, the beginning moment that inspires people. But without consistency, that spark dies out before it can ignite anything meaningful. Every successful athlete, entrepreneur, artist, or leader has relied on consistency more than motivation. Motivation may have inspired them to start, but consistency carried them to the finish line. Motivation can take you out of your comfort zone for a day. Consistency keeps you outside your comfort zone until results are undeniable. That is the difference between fleeting enthusiasm and lasting achievement. Consistency also sets you apart from the majority. Most people rely on motivation. They start strong when they feel inspired, but they fade at the first sign of difficulty. They give up when emotions waver. They stop when energy diminishes. Consistent people don't wait for motivation. They don't negotiate with feeling. They show up every day, rain or shine, energized or exhausted, encouraged or discouraged. That persistence isolates them from the crowd, elevates them above mediocrity, and propels them toward excellence. If you want to stand out, you must embrace consistency as a lifestyle, not a temporary effort. Consistency transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes because repeated action compounds over time. You may not notice progress day to day, but when measured over weeks, months, and years, the results are exponential. Motivation may produce a single burst of effort, but that burst is temporary. Consistency ensures that every day adds to the momentum. Every repetition builds skill. Every action reinforces discipline. In the long run, consistent people accumulate results that appear magical to those who rely solely on motivation. And the truth is, motivation is never guaranteed. You can't predict when you feel inspired. You can't schedule enthusiasm. You can't rely on energy to appear on demand. But consistency is always available. Consistency is a choice. Consistency is a habit. Consistency is a principle. It doesn't care about feeling, circumstances, or excuses. It only asks that you commit to showing up and doing the work every single day without fail. That is how ordinary people become extraordinary. That is how dreams become reality. That is how potential becomes achievement. That sacrifice is the currency of achievement because nothing of true value comes without a cost. Every goal, every dream, every vision you hold requires you to give up something in order to gain something greater. Most people want success, but they are unwilling to pay the price. They want the rewards, but they are not willing to endure the discomfort, the struggle, the late nights, the early mornings, or the relentless effort required to make their dreams real. They want shortcuts. They want easy paths. They want comfort. But the truth is, comfort kills potential. It keeps you stagnant. It keeps you in the same place year after year, hoping for results without action. Sacrifice is the price you must pay to move from where you are to where you're meant to be. Sacrifice is not just about giving up material things. It's about giving up excuses, giving up distractions, giving up temporary pleasures that delay your growth. It is about prioritizing what matters most over what feels good in the moment. Most people spend their time on things that entertain them, distract them, or provide temporary satisfaction. But these things do not build legacy. Sacrifice demands that you reallocate your time, your energy, your focus toward actions that produce results, even if they are difficult or inconvenient. It is the choice to delay gratification today in order to create abundance tomorrow. Every hour you choose the path of sacrifice, you are investing in your future. Sacrifice requires discipline because it forces you to do what others won't. It demands that you step outside the comfort zone, face challenges head on, and endure temporary discomfort for long-term gain. The path of least resistance is crowded because everyone wants comfort. But the path of sacrifice is narrow, lonely, and rigorous, and it is also where greatness lives. The people who achieve extraordinary results are not those who avoided hard work. They are not those who waited for the right conditions. They are those who are willing to sacrifice consistently, day after day, to prioritize the things that matter most, to endure the struggle that others refuse to endure. Sacrifice is often misunderstood. People think it means losing, giving up, or settling for less. But sacrifice is the gateway to more. Sacrifice is giving up temporary ease in order to gain lasting fulfillment. It is exchanging short-term pleasures for long-term vision. It is choosing the life you want over the life you have. It is the deliberate, conscious decision to invest in yourself, your goals, and your potential, no matter how uncomfortable or challenging it may be. Every sacrifice you make is a seed planted for the harvest you will reap in the future. Sacrifice requires clarity. You must be clear about what you want, what you are willing to give up, and why it matters. Without clarity, sacrifice feels like suffering. With clarity, sacrifice becomes purposeful, powerful, and empowering. When you know exactly what you are working for, the small inconveniences, the late nights, the early mornings, the missed parties, and the tough decisions take on new meaning. They are no longer burden. They are investments. Every hour you dedicate to your growth, every action you take in pursuit of your goals, every challenge you endure becomes part of the journey toward the life you desire. Sacrifice is not easy because it goes against human nature. We are wired to seek comfort, avoid pain, and resist discomfort. But human nature also responds to challenge, to growth, to purpose. That is why those who succeed do not follow human nature. They master it. They master it. They learn to endure discomfort. They learn to prioritize long-term gain over short-term satisfaction. They learn that every sacrifice is a step toward a life that others only dream of. Discipline, resilience, and focus are developed through sacrifice because it forces you to act when your instincts say otherwise. And over time, sacrifice transforms you into someone capable of handling more than you ever thought possible. Sacrifice is also about saying no to distraction, saying no to instant gratification, saying no to anything that takes your focus away from your goals. Every no is a yes to something greater. Every choice you make to prioritize your vision over comfort reinforces your commitment. Most people fail because they cannot say no. They let distractions, social pressures, and short-term pleasures dictate their actions. Sacrifice is the practice of intentional no's that allow you to say yes to what truly matters. It is a constant negotiation between temporary comfort and long-term fulfillment. And every time you choose the long term, you are one step closer to greatness. Sacrifice is often lonely. When you commit to doing what it takes, you will face people who don't understand your choices, who question your priorities, who criticize your efforts. They will invite you to the easy path, to the comfortable routine, to the life of convenience. But those who achieve greatness do not follow the crowd. They lead themselves. They endure solitude, criticism, and skepticism because they understand that the cost of mediocrity is far greater than the temporary discomfort of sacrifice. Loneliness is a companion of sacrifice, but is also a sign that you are moving in the right direction. Greatness rarely walks with the masses. Sacrifice also teaches resilience. Every time you give up something for your vision, you learn to endure, to persevere, and to withstand discomfort. You learn that you can handle more than you thought. You develop strength, toughness, and tenacity. You discover that the human spirit is more powerful than fear, more powerful than doubt, and more powerful than temporary setbacks. Resilience is built in moments of sacrifice, when you push through pain, ignore excuses, and focus on the bigger picture. And when life throws obstacles at you, your history of sacrifice gives you the confidence to persist because you have already proven to yourself that you can endure. Sacrifice is about focus. Every distraction avoided, every temptation resisted, every compromise decline sharpens your vision. It narrows your attention on what matters most. When you sacrifice, you create a laser-like focus that aligns your actions with your goals. The world is full of distractions, opportunities, and easy choices that lead away from progress. Sacrifice filters out the noise and channels your energy toward what truly matters. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing what matters consistently and relentlessly. Focus and clarity arise naturally from sacrifice because you cannot sacrifice what you do not value. Sacrifice compounds over time. Small sacrifices today lead to massive rewards tomorrow. Missing a party, waking up early, studying while others sleep, practicing while others relax. These are not losses. They are investments. They accumulate into skill, experience, knowledge, and capability. The person who sacrifices consistently for years develops a life that others cannot achieve in decades without the same effort. The secret of extraordinary success is not luck. It is the accumulation of sacrifices, repeated day after day in alignment with a clear vision. Every action matters. Every decision matters. Every sacrifice matters. Sacrifice requires patience. You do not see results instantly. You do not receive immediate validation. You may endure setbacks, failures, and frustrations along the way. But those who understand the power of sacrifice keep moving, knowing that delayed gratification produces lasting fulfillment. Patience is the companion of sacrifice, and patience is the enemy. The difference between those who achieve and those who quit is often the ability to persist, endure, and remain disciplined while waiting for the payoff. Every step taken in sacrifice is a step toward mastery, wealth, health, or purpose. Sacrifice also builds character. It develops integrity, humility, and strength of mind. When you consistently give up what is easy for what is necessary, you prove to yourself that your commitment is stronger than your desires. You learn to prioritize, to act responsibly, and to take ownership of your life. Character is formed in moments of choice. When you decide to sacrifice comfort for growth, those choices define who you are, who you will become, and the impact you will have on the world. Success without sacrifice produces hollow results. Sacrifice without success produces resilience and preparation. Together, they create unstoppable individuals. Sacrifice multiplies your potential. It teaches you that nothing is impossible if you are willing to endure the discomfort required. Every limit you thought existed is broken when you consistently make difficult choices. Every fear is diminished when you face it with courage. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity when you accept that sacrifice is necessary for growth. You begin to operate at a level that others cannot sustain because they refuse the cost. You realize that the life you want is available to those willing to pay the price. Sacrifice is the gateway. Effort is the vehicle. Discipline is the drive. And the reality is, life will demand sacrifice whether you choose it or not. You will either sacrifice voluntarily to create the life you want, or life will force you to sacrifice involuntarily through hardship, failure, or loss. Choosing to sacrifice proactively is empowerment. It is control. It is the ability to steer your life rather than react to circumstances. Every person who achieved greatness understood this truth. They chose sacrifice deliberately, strategically, and consistently. They understood that comfort is a trap and that the price of inaction is far higher than the price of sacrifice. Focus is the weapon that separates dreamers from achievers because without it, talent, potential, and effort are wasted. Most people fail not because they lack ability, not because they lack motivation, and not because they lack dreams, but because they scatter their energy in too many directions. Focus is the ability to channel all your energy, time, and attention into the one thing that matters most. It is the act of eliminating distractions, ignoring noise, and shutting out the unnecessary so that you can give 100% to what truly drives results. Focus is the difference between someone who talks about goals and someone who achieves them. You can have vision, but without focus, vision is meaningless. You can have desire, but without focus, desire is wasted energy. Focus is the bridge between intention and achievement, and mastering is the key to unlocking potential. Focus requires clarity because you cannot aim at a target you cannot see. Many people feel busy but accomplish nothing because they do not know what they are aiming for. They multitask, juggle priorities, and split attention across dozens of activities that lead nowhere. Focus is about identifying what is essential and giving it undivided attention. It is about saying no to everything that does not serve your goal, even if it seems urgent or tempting. The more clarity you have about your purpose, the easier it becomes to focus. The more distraction-free your environment, the more laser-like your attention becomes. Without clarity, focus is weak. With clarity, focus becomes unstoppable. Focus demands discipline because the world is full of distractions designed to steal your attention. Social media, entertainment, unnecessary obligations, noise, and negative influences all compete for your energy. Motivation alone will not protect you because it fluctuates. Discipline is what ensures you act in alignment with your goals, even when your environment, emotions, or peers try to pull you away. Every time you practice focus, you reinforce discipline. Every time you resist a distraction, you strengthen mental toughness. Focus multiplies your effort because it concentrates energy on what matters most, creating results that scattered effort can never produce. Focus also requires sacrifice. You will not be able to do everything. You would have to decline invitations, skip activities, and say no to temporary pleasures in order to preserve your attention for your priorities. This is uncomfortable because the human brain craves novelty, comfort, and distraction. But if you want extraordinary results, you must be willing to protect your attention. Sacrifice is not punishment. It is strategic. Every hour spent focused on your goals compounds into progress. Every distraction avoided preserves momentum. Focus is your ability to invest in the right areas consistently while ignoring everything else. The more disciplined your focus, the more exponential your results. Focus is not just about attention, it is about energy. You can sit in a room with no distractions and still be unfocused if your mind wanders. True focus requires controlling your mental energy and directing it toward deliberate, intentional action. It requires setting priorities, structuring your environment, and maintaining a state of concentration that pushes you toward results. Focus allows you to be efficient, effective, and powerful. It ensures that every action you take contributes to your purpose. Without focus, energy is wasted, time is lost, and potential is diluted. Focus also separates those who follow through from those who falter. Anyone can start a project, but finishing requires sustained attention over time. Focus creates continuity. Focus prevents procrastination. Focus bridges the gap between ideas and execution. Many people fail because they get distracted along the way, lose momentum, and abandon their vision. Focus is the anchor that keeps you steady when challenges arise. It allows you to stay on course when everything around you is pulling you off track. Focus is the internal compass that guides persistent action and consistent progress. Focus sharpens decision-making. When you are clear about your priorities, you can make choices quickly and confidently. You can distinguish between what matters and what doesn't. You can ignore irrelevant noise and zero in on what drives results. Indecision and hesitation are often the result of scattered attention. Focus eliminates doubt by providing a framework for action. It reduces wasted effort. It ensures that your energy is spent on high-impact activities. Focus is the difference between spinning your wheels and moving forward with precision. Focus is strengthened through practice. Just like a muscle, the more you exercise your ability to concentrate, the stronger it becomes. Start with small periods of deep work, free from distractions, and gradually increase the duration and intensity. Notice when your mind drifts and bring it back. Eliminate interruptions, set boundaries, and create rituals that enhance attention. Over time, focus becomes second nature. You become someone who can enter a state of deep concentration at will, producing work and results that others cannot match. Focus compounds over time because every concentrated effort multiplies into skill, knowledge, and achievement. Focus is also about persistence. The world is full of distractions and challenges that test your commitment. Your mind will want to wander. People will try to pull you away. Obstacles will appear. Without focus, you will succumb to these pressures. With focus, you maintain direction and continue progressing despite resistance. Focus allows you to weather the storms of life, to persist when motivation fades, and to act consistently when the path is uncertain. It builds resilience because it trains your mind to prioritize progress over comfort, attention over distraction, and action over hesitation. Focus is a multiplier. 1 hour of focused work is more valuable than 10 hours of scattered effort. One concentrated session on your most important task can create results that weeks of multitasking cannot. Focus aligns your energy, effort, and intention. It amplifies productivity. It magnifies talent. It enhances learning. When you focus, you are not just working, you are building momentum, compounding results, and creating opportunities. Lack of focus dilutes everything. Talent, effort, and ambition are wasted when attention is fragmented. Focus converts potential into performance, ideas into action, and dreams into reality. Focus also cultivates self-awareness. When you practice deep concentration, you learn what distracts you, what drains your energy, and what elevates your performance. You begin to understand how your mind works when your attention peaks and how to manage it effectively. Self-awareness allows you to make deliberate choices about how you spend your time, who you spend it with, and what actions you take. It ensures that your efforts are intentional, not reactive. Focus is not just about doing, it is about understanding, mastering, and directing your mental and physical resources toward the life you want. Focus requires courage. It requires saying no to immediate pleasures, ignoring the opinions of naysayers, and standing firm in pursuit of your vision. Many people avoid focus because it forces them to prioritize. And prioritizing means letting go of things that feel comfortable or familiar. But comfort is the enemy of progress. Courage is choosing the harder path of focus, knowing that the temporary discomfort is the price of long-term success. Every time you protect your focus, you reinforce the belief that your goals are more important than distraction and that your vision is worth the effort. Focus develops accountability because it forces you to track your progress. When you concentrate on your priority, you see the results of your actions clearly. You cannot hide behind busyness or excuses. You measure performance, evaluate outcomes, and adjust strategies. Accountability and focus go hand in hand. And focus ensures you are working on the right things. Accountability ensures that you are completing them with integrity and consistency. Together, they create unstoppable progress. Focus without accountability is scattered. Accountability without focus is inefficient. Both are necessary for success. Focus is also a mindset. It is a commitment to paying attention to what matters most, ignoring what doesn't, and persisting through resistance. It is the choice to be present, deliberate, and intentional in every action. Focus is the difference between surviving and thriving, between mediocrity and excellence, between talking about goals and achieving them. It is the skill that transforms energy, effort, and intention into measurable results. Mastering focus is mastering yourself because your attention defines your life. Where your attention goes, your results follow. That patience is the secret weapon of success because everything worth achieving takes time, effort, and persistence. Most people fail not because they lack ability, talent, or desire, but because they want results too quickly. They want instant gratification, immediate recognition, and overnight success. But life does not work that way. Greatness is not built in a day, a week, or even a month. It is built over years of consistent effort, discipline, and dedication. Patience allows you to endure the process, to trust the journey, and to continue acting with purpose even when results are not immediately visible. Without patience, you quit before your breakthrough, stop before your momentum, and settle for less than your potential. Patience is about trusting the process, even when it is uncomfortable. It is about believing that your efforts, discipline, and focus will pay off, even if you cannot see immediate results. Most people give up because they cannot see the fruit of their labor quickly enough. They become frustrated, discouraged, or anxious, and they abandon their goals. Patience is the ability to keep working, keep learning, and keep growing while waiting for the results that only time can deliver. It is not passive, it is active. Patience requires persistence, dedication, and unwavering commitment to your vision, regardless of how long it takes. Patience also builds resilience because it teaches you to endure setbacks, failures, and delays without losing momentum. Life is unpredictable and success is rarely linear. You will encounter obstacles, face rejection, and endure challenges that test your resolve. Without patience, these difficulties can derail you. With patience, you develop the strength to continue moving forward, adjusting your approach and learning from each experience. Patience allows you to navigate adversity with grace and determination, turning obstacles into opportunities and failures into lessons. Patience is a mindset that keeps you focused on the long-term vision rather than the short-term discomfort. Most people are trapped by immediate challenges, temporary setbacks, and short-term frustration. They allow momentary difficulties to dictate their actions and abandon their goals when progress feels slow. Patience teaches you to rise above temporary emotion and focus on the bigger picture. It allows you to make decisions based on long-term benefit rather than immediate relief. Patience ensures that your actions are deliberate, intentional, and aligned with your ultimate objectives. Patience is essential for mastery. No one becomes excellent overnight. Skills, knowledge, and expertise are developed through years of repetition, practice, and refinement. You may not notice improvement immediately, but over time, consistent effort compounds into mastery. Patience allows you to stick with the process, trust your growth, and remain committed even when progress seems invisible. It teaches you that every small action, every disciplined choice, and every effort invested today is building the foundation for tomorrow's success. Patience is the bridge between effort and excellence. Patience is also about self-control. It requires you to resist the temptation of shortcuts, instant gratification, and impulsive decisions that can undermine your long-term goals. Most people are impatient because they lack control over their impulses. They want results now, and they are willing to sacrifice strategy, consistency, or integrity to achieve them. Patience teaches you to delay gratification, prioritize long-term benefits, and act with wisdom. It allows you to make choices that reinforce your vision rather than compromising for temporary satisfaction. Patience strengthens your character because it demands humility and perseverance. You cannot control the speed of progress, the timing of opportunities, or the behavior of others. You can only control your actions, your attitude, and your persistence. Patience teaches you to accept what you cannot change, to work diligently on what you can, and to maintain faith in your efforts. It cultivates humility by reminding you that success is a process, not a moment. It cultivates perseverance by teaching you to endure difficulties without giving up. Patience is the discipline that shapes character and strengthens resolve. Patience also improves decision-making. When you are patient, you avoid impulsive actions driven by frustration, fear, or desire for immediate results. You take the time to evaluate options, consider consequences, and make deliberate choices. Impulsive decisions often lead to setbacks, mistakes, and wasted effort. Patience allows you to act strategically, think clearly, and prioritize actions that produce long-term value. It gives you control over your life because your decisions are driven by wisdom, not emotion. Patience is critical in relationships because meaningful connections, trust, and influence take time to develop. You cannot rush growth, understanding, or collaboration. People who lack patience often sabotage relationships through frustration, unrealistic expectations, or neglect. Patience teaches you to listen, empathize, and invest time in building trust and rapport. It allows you to nurture relationships that are essential for personal and professional growth. Patience transforms interactions from transactional to meaningful, from superficial to lasting. Patience compounds like interest in a bank account. Small, consistent efforts yield significant results over time. Studying daily, practicing your craft, networking, building skills, and cultivating discipline may feel insignificant in the moment, but in the months and years, these actions create excellence. Impatience leads to quitting too soon, changing strategies prematurely, or giving up on goals before results materialize. Patience ensures that you stay the course, trust the process, and continue investing effort until the breakthrough comes. Patience is essential for learning and growth. You will make mistakes, encounter failures, and face challenges that slow your progress. Without patience, these setbacks become discouraging and can cause you to quit. With patience, you view setbacks as opportunities to learn, refine strategies, and improve. Patience allows you to embrace the process of growth, understanding that mastery, achievement, and transformation are gradual. Every challenge becomes a teacher, every failure a lesson, and every delay an opportunity to prepare for future success. Patience intertwined with persistence. You cannot succeed without both. Persistence drives you to keep going, while patience teaches you to endure the time it takes to achieve results. Most people give up because they lack patience. They want results now, and they are unwilling to wait. Others quit because they lack persistence. They give up when challenges arise. True success requires both the patience to endure the process and the persistence to act consistently until goals are achieved. Patience ensures that your persistence is effective, not wasted. Patience builds confidence because it allows you to see progress over time. As you consistently act, learn, and grow, results begin to appear. You develop trust in your abilities, confidence in your decisions, and faith in your process. Patience teaches you that success is not immediate, but inevitable. If you continue working with focus, discipline, and consistency, confidence grows naturally when patience becomes a habit because you know that your efforts sustained over time will yield results. Patience is not passive waiting. It is active endurance. It is not sitting idle and hoping for results. It is working diligently, learning continuously, refining strategies, and maintaining faith in the process. Patience is about being proactive while enduring the time it takes to achieve It is about taking consistent, deliberate action while trusting that your efforts will pay off. Patience transforms waiting into preparation, delays into opportunity, and challenges into strength. Patience also cultivates gratitude because it allows you to recognize progress, appreciate growth, and celebrate small wins along the way. Impatient people often overlook the journey, focusing only on the destination and becoming frustrated by delays. Patient people understand that every step, every lesson, every moment of effort contributes to the ultimate goal. They celebrate progress, remain motivated, and maintain perspective, knowing that greatness is built gradually and intentionally. Patience allows you to honor the journey while pursuing the destination. Patience is the foundation of long-term success because it ensures that you do not quit before achieving your goals. It teaches endurance, persistence, self-control, focus, and resilience. It allows you to navigate setbacks, embrace challenges, and act with wisdom. Patience ensures that your efforts compound over time, your skills improve steadily, and your results accumulate naturally. Without patience, even the most talented, motivated, or disciplined individual. Vision is the compass that directs your life because without it, effort, discipline, and sacrifice are scattered and unfocused. Most people drift through life without a clear picture of what they want, allowing circumstances, other people's expectations, and distractions to dictate their actions. Vision is the ability to see beyond the present moment, beyond obstacles, and beyond temporary discomfort to the life purpose or achievement you desire. It is the lens through which you interpret opportunity, evaluate risks, and make decisions. Without vision, even hard work can be wasted because it lacks direction. With vision, every step, every choice, and every action aligns with the destination you are determined to reach. Vision fuels motivation because it gives purpose to your actions. It is the why behind every effort. When you have a clear vision, waking up early, pushing through challenges, and making sacrifices are no longer burdens. They are necessary steps towards something meaningful. Vision ignites passion because it connects daily actions with a larger goal, giving you the energy to persevere when obstacles arise. Motivation is fleeting, but vision provides a constant reminder of what is possible if you persist. It allows you to endure setbacks, maintain focus, and act with determination even when circumstances are difficult or discouraging. Vision requires clarity. Clarity, because a vague idea of success is not enough to guide action. You must be specific about what you want, why you want it, and how you will achieve it. Clarity transforms dreams into actionable goals, and actionable goals into results. A clear vision allows you to prioritize efforts, allocate resources effectively, and make deliberate decisions that move you closer to your destination. Without clarity, you wander, waste time, and succumb to distraction. With clarity, vision becomes actionable, measurable, and unstoppable. Vision also provides resilience in the face of adversity. Life will throw challenges, setbacks, and obstacles in your path. Without vision, these moments can feel overwhelming, discouraging, or meaningless. With vision, challenges are reframed as tests, learning opportunities, and necessary steps in the journey. A clear vision acts as an anchor, reminding you why you started, what is at stake, and what is possible. It allows you to persevere, maintain hope, and take action even when progress is slow, circumstances are unfavorable, or external pressures mount. Vision sharpens focus because it filters out distraction. The world is full of noise, temptations, and opportunity that can derail progress. When you have a clear vision, you are able to prioritize what matters, say no to what does not, and channel your energy toward actions that produce results. Vision acts as a lens through which decisions are made. It helps you distinguish between what is urgent and what is important, between what contributes to your goals and what wastes time. Focus without vision is aimless. Vision without focus is wasted potential. Together, they are the engine that drives achievement. Vision is also motivated for discipline and sacrifice. When you see the life you want, you understand that temporary discomfort is a necessary investment. Sacrifices such as long hours, delayed gratification, rigorous practice, and disciplined routines become meaningful because they serve a purpose. Discipline is easier to maintain when anchored to a compelling vision because the effort is no longer arbitrary. It is directly tied to the outcome you desire. Vision transforms pain, struggle, and resistance into fuel for growth and progress. Vision strengthens confidence because it provides certainty about your direction. When you know where you are going, you are less likely to be swayed by doubt, fear, or criticism. Confidence grows when you act consistently in alignment with a clear vision. You trust your decisions, your effort, and your strategy because they are guided by a defined goal. Without vision, confidence is fragile, easily shaken by obstacles or setbacks. With vision, confidence is rooted in purpose, clarity, and understanding of the path forward. Vision inspires others because it communicates direction, intention, and purpose. Leaders who have a clear vision attract followers, collaborators, and mentors who share or respect their goals. A compelling vision motivates people to act, support, and contribute because it creates a sense of meaning and possibility. Influence grows when you can articulate not only what you want to achieve, but why it matters and how it can impact others. Vision is contagious. It compels action and inspires commitment beyond your personal ambitions. Vision encourages innovation because it forces you to think beyond the status quo. When your focus is limited to immediate circumstances, you operate within constraints and limitations. Vision pushes you to imagine new possibilities, devise creative solutions, and explore opportunities that others may overlook. It allows you to see potential where others see obstacles and to act boldly in pursuit of unconventional paths. Vision transforms challenges into catalysts for innovation and drives progress beyond what appears possible at first glance. Vision requires patience because achieving significant goals takes time. Most people abandon their dreams prematurely because they cannot see immediate results. Vision teaches you to trust the process, endure setbacks, and persist with steady effort. It allows you to maintain commitment even when progress is slow, obstacles are frequent, and external validation is absent. Patience and persistence are natural byproducts of a compelling vision because it provides a reason to act consistently and remain focused despite delays or difficulties. Vision amplifies accountability because it establishes a benchmark for success. When you have a clear picture of what you want to achieve, it becomes easier to measure progress, evaluate performance, and hold yourself responsible for results. Accountability ensures that actions are deliberate, consistent, and aligned with your goals. Without vision, accountability is weak because there is no standard or direction. With vision, accountability becomes meaningful. It tracks your trajectory toward the life or success you are committed to creating. Vision transforms obstacles into stepping stones. When you are clear about your destination, setbacks are no longer seen as failure, but as necessary learning experience. Every mistake, challenge, and failure provides insight, builds resilience, and strengthens strategy. Vision allows you to reframe adversity as part of the journey rather than a derailment from it. It teaches you to adapt, adjust, and continue moving forward with purpose, ensuring that temporary difficulties do not stop long-term progress. Vision aligns actions with values because it requires intentionality. When you know what you want, you make choices that reflect your priorities rather than reacting impulsively to external influences. Vision ensures that effort is meaningful, goals are intentional, and results are sustainable. Without vision, actions may be scattered, inconsistent, or misaligned with your true purpose. With vision, every step taken, every sacrifice made, and every challenge faced is a contribution to a larger, meaningful outcome. Vision creates momentum because it provides a clear direction and purpose. When you have a goal in mind, each small action, consistent effort, and disciplined choice builds upon the last, creating compounding results. Momentum is the natural product of alignment between vision, focus, and effort. Without vision, energy is dissipated, consistency falters, and results are limited. With vision, momentum accelerates, turning effort into exponential progress and small wins into significant achievements. Vision is essential for overcoming fear, because it creates a compelling reason to act despite uncertainty. Fear paralyzes people when they focus on obstacles, risks, or potential failure. Vision shifts attention from fear to possibility, from risk to opportunity, and from limitation to potential. It provides motivation to push through doubt, discomfort, and resistance. When you have a vision that inspires and motivates, fear loses its power, and courage becomes a natural response. Vision inspires legacy because it connects personal effort with impact beyond oneself. When your goals are tied to a greater purpose, every action contributes not only to personal success, but also to the lives of others, communities, and systems you influence. Vision transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary contribution. It ensures that your actions are intentional, your impact is meaningful, and your life leaves a lasting imprint. Without vision, achievements may feel empty. With vision, accomplishments carry significance, purpose, and enduring value. Vision is the foundation upon which discipline, sacrifice, focus, and patience are built. Motivation can ignite action, but vision sustains it. Sacrifice is easier when it serves a purpose. Focus is sharper when it is guided by a goal. Patience becomes meaningful when it supports progress toward a clear outcome. Vision aligns every element of your effort into a coherent, purposeful trajectory, transforming potential into achievement, intention into action, and dreams into reality. Consistency is the backbone of achievement because it transforms small, repeated actions into extraordinary results. Most people fail, not because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity, but because they are inconsistent. They start strong, full of motivation and excitement, but when challenges arise, when results are slow, or when fatigue sets in, they falter. Consistency is the ability to keep going, day after day, effort after effort, regardless of mood, circumstances, or immediate outcomes. It is the relentless application of discipline and action over time. Talent without consistency is wasted potential. Motivation without consistency is fleeting. Only through consistent effort can you build momentum, mastery, and success that lasts. Consistency requires commitment to a process. It is easy to be consistent when things are going well, when energy is high, and when the path is smooth. True consistency, however, is revealed when life becomes challenging, when motivation wanes, and when obstacles test your resolve. The person who shows up consistently despite difficulty demonstrates resilience, dedication, and strength of character. Consistency is the manifestation of your commitment to your goals. It is the habit of showing up even when the conditions are not perfect and taking action anyway. Over time, this habit compounds into results that those who quit early can never achieve. Consistency builds trust, both with yourself and with others. When you consistently act with integrity, follow through on promises, and honor your commitments, people learn to rely on you. You develop credibility because your actions match your words. Similarly, consistency with yourself creates self-trust. You prove to yourself that you are reliable, disciplined, and capable of following through. This self-trust is critical because it reinforces confidence, strengthens resolve, and sustains effort even when external validation is absent. Without consistency, credibility is fragile and progress is unpredictable. With consistency, results become inevitable. Consistency compounds over time. Small, repeated actions may seem insignificant in the moment, but when maintained over weeks, months, and years, they create massive impact. Learning a skill for 30 minutes each day, writing consistently, training consistently, or practicing a craft consistently might feel slow at first, but the cumulative effect is extraordinary. Most people underestimate the power of compounding effort because they focus on immediate results. Consistency is what turns small beginnings into great achievements. It is what allows ordinary individuals to do extraordinary things through steady, deliberate effort. Consistency requires discipline because motivation is fleeting. Motivation comes and goes. It cannot be relied upon to sustain action. Discipline, reinforced through consistent practice, becomes the engine that drives progress even when enthusiasm fades. Consistency ensures that you act regardless of mood, energy, or circumstance. It turns intention into action and effort into results. Every repeated step, every disciplined choice, every moment of persistence strengthens the habit of consistency and reinforces your capacity to achieve your goals. Consistency is essential for mastery. No one becomes excellent overnight. Mastery is the product of deliberate practice repeated over time. Skills improve gradually through consistent effort, mistakes, and learning. Without consistency, improvement is fragmented, progress stalls, and potential is wasted. Those who achieve greatness do not rely on bursts of effort or moments of inspiration. They rely on steady, focused, and persistent practice. Consistency is what separates those who dabble from those who dominate, those who dream from those who achieve, and those who start from those who finish. Consistency also strengthens resilience because it trains you to endure setbacks and challenges. Life will always test your resolve, and progress will not be linear. Obstacles, failures, and distractions are inevitable. Consistency ensures that you keep moving forward despite these challenges. It teaches patience, perseverance, and endurance. Each day you show up, even when progress seems slow or obstacles appear, you build a mental and emotional foundation that allows you to withstand adversity. Consistency transforms struggle into strength, frustration into fuel, and challenges into opportunities for growth. Consistency amplifies focus because repeated action aligns your efforts with your goals. When you act consistently, you create momentum that magnifies the impact of each subsequent action. Distractions become less powerful, interruptions less disruptive, and setbacks less discouraging. Consistency creates a rhythm and structure that reinforces attention on what matters most. It ensures that energy is directed toward productive, goal-oriented activity rather than wasted on scattered efforts. Focus without consistency is temporary. Consistency without focus is aimless. Together, they drive sustainable results. Consistency requires patience because meaningful results do not happen instantly. Many people give up because they cannot see immediate outcomes, believing that their efforts are ineffective or wasted. Consistency teaches that results are the product of sustained effort over time. It requires a discipline to act daily, even when progress is slow or invisible. Patience and consistency are partners. Patience allows you to endure the process, while consistency ensures that your actions align with the long-term vision. Together, they transform effort into achievement and persistence into succeed. Consistency is also about accountability. When you commit to consistent action, you hold yourself responsible for your progress. You cannot make excuses, procrastinate, or rely on bursts of effort to compensate for inconsistency. Accountability ensures that actions are deliberate, structured, and aligned with your objectives. It creates a standard of excellence and a framework for evaluating progress. Those who are consistent develop habits of responsibility, reflection, and self-improvement that compound into extraordinary results over time. Consistency transforms habits into identity. Repeated actions shape character, reinforce values, and define who you are. The person who consistently trains becomes an athlete. The person who consistently studies becomes knowledgeable. The person who consistently leads with integrity becomes a leader. Habits and actions repeated over time form identity, and identity drives behavior. Consistency is the bridge between effort and character, action and excellence, intention and legacy. Your consistent actions shape the person you become and ultimately the life you live. Consistency also enhances credibility in the eyes of others. People notice those who show up reliably, deliver results, and maintain standards over time. Consistency creates a reputation for reliability, professionalism, and commitment. This trust and credibility open doors to opportunities, collaborations, and influence that inconsistent effort cannot generate. Leaders, mentors, and peers recognize consistent individuals as dependable, capable, and valuable. The impact of consistency extends beyond personal achievement to professional and social influence. Consistency reinforces resilience because it normalizes effort and persistence. By acting daily, even when challenged, discouraged, or fatigued, you develop mental toughness. Each moment of persistence becomes a training ground for endurance, problem solving, and emotional strength. Challenges that would break the inconsistent individual become manageable because consistency builds the capacity to endure, adapt, and continue. It teaches that effort is non-negotiable, results are cumulative, and setbacks are temporary. Consistency multiplies learning because repeated practice allows feedback, reflection, and improvement. Each action provides data, successes to build on, mistakes to correct, and strategies to refine. Consistency ensures that learning is continuous and iterative, allowing incremental improvement to compound into mastery. Without consistent effort, knowledge remains theoretical, skills remain underdeveloped, and potential remains untapped. Repetition, reflection, and refinement are the hallmarks of consistent action that lead to excellence. Consistency is the antidote to procrastination because it establishes a routine of action, regardless of emotion or circumstance. Procrastination thrives in inconsistency, doubt, and waiting for the perfect moment. Consistency forces action even when conditions are imperfect. It builds momentum, reduces hesitation, and strengthens confidence. Every small action taken consistently reinforces the habit of action, creating a cycle of productivity, progress, and achievement that procrastination cannot disrupt. Consistency drives results because action is the currency of success. Ideas, dreams, and goals are meaningless without repeated effort. Consistency ensures that actions are executed reliably, habits are reinforced, and progress is sustained. It is not the occasional burst of effort that leads to achievement. It is the unbroken chain of disciplined, deliberate, and focused action over time. Those who achieve remarkable outcomes understand that consistency transforms potential into reality, effort into mastery, and intention into impact. Consistency builds legacy because sustained effort over time creates influence, accomplishment, and change. Achievements may fade in the short term, but consistent action leaves a lasting imprint, whether it is in personal growth, professional success, relationships, or community impact. Consistency ensures that contributions accumulate into significance. Born from isolated moments of brilliance, is the product of daily, persistent, and intentional effort. Consistency turns ordinary actions into extraordinary influence and fleeting effort into lasting impact. Adaptability is the skill that determines whether you survive or thrive. Because life is unpredictable, circumstances change, and the unexpected is inevitable. Most people struggle because they resist change, cling to comfort, or insist that life unfolds according to their plans. But the truth is that rigidity leads to failure. Those who succeed are not necessarily the strongest, the smartest, or the most talented, or the most adaptable. Adaptability is the ability to adjust, pivot, and thrive in changing conditions. It is the capacity to learn from challenges, modify strategies, and seize opportunities that others overlook. Adaptability is not weakness. It is strength in action, resilience in motion, and intelligence applied in real time. Adaptability requires awareness because you cannot adjust to what you do not perceive. Life constantly throws signals, shifts in circumstances, feedback from others, lessons from failure, and opportunities hidden in challenges. Those who are adaptable pay attention to these signals, interpreting them and responding strategically. Awareness allows you to recognize when your current approach is ineffective, when patterns are changing, and when innovation is required. Without awareness, adaptability is impossible because change will always surprise, overwhelm, and derail you. With awareness, you navigate uncertainty with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Adaptability demands flexibility of thought. When challenges arise, the mind often clings to familiar strategies, resisting new approaches. The adaptable individual thinks creatively, experiments with alternatives, and remains open to possibility. Flexibility allows you to view obstacles as opportunity, setbacks as lessons, and disruption as a chance to innovate. Adaptable people do not see change as a threat. They see it as a signal to recalibrate, to improve, and to grow. Flexibility of thought allows action, problem solving, and progress in ways that rigid thinking cannot. It transforms challenge into advantage and difficulty into a training ground for resilience. Adaptability requires emotional intelligence because change often triggers fear, frustration, or resistance. Most people respond to unexpected events with panic, defensiveness, or avoidance, which exacerbates problems and reduces effectiveness. Emotional intelligence allows you to manage your responses, regulate emotions, and maintain focus under pressure. It provides the clarity to assess situations rationally, make strategic adjustments, and communicate effectively during transitions. Adaptability is not just about external change. It is about internal management. Controlling your emotions, maintaining composure, and staying solution-focused are essential to thriving in dynamic environments. Adaptability is linked to resilience because life will always test your ability to endure. Challenges, failures, setbacks, and unpredictability are inevitable. Those who are adaptable endure these circumstances without losing focus, commitment, or momentum. They view adversity as a teacher rather than a punishment, an opportunity to pivot rather than a signal to quit. Resilience and adaptability are partners. Resilience allows you to withstand pressure, while adaptability allows you to adjust to it. Together, they ensure progress even when life refuses to follow the plan you imagined. Adaptability requires a growth mindset because it depends on the willingness to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Those who believe that their skills, knowledge, and approaches are fixed struggle to adjust when circumstances change. The adaptable individual embraces learning, seeks feedback, and continuously refines strategies. They are comfortable with uncertainty because they trust their ability to develop solutions, acquire new skills, and overcome obstacles. Adaptability thrives on curiosity, openness, and the belief that challenges are opportunities for growth rather than threats to security. Adaptability is essential for leadership because leaders must navigate change, uncertainty, and complexity. In any team, organization, or community, circumstances shift, problems emerge, and plans fail. Leaders who can adapt guide their teams through transitions, inspire confidence, and make decisions under uncertainty. They pivot strategies when necessary, adjust expectations, and embrace innovation while maintaining focus on the overarching vision. Leadership without adaptability is rigid, reactive, and prone to failure. Leadership with adaptability is dynamic, proactive, and capable of achieving extraordinary results, even in turbulent conditions. Adaptability strengthens problem solving because it encourages flexible thinking, experimentation, and creativity. When fixed solutions fail, the adaptable person considers alternatives, combines resources differently, and seeks new perspectives. Adaptability prevents stagnation, promotes innovation, and allows for solutions that others may overlook. Challenges are inevitable, but adaptable individuals turn them into opportunities for improvement and breakthroughs. Problem solving becomes not a source of stress, but a space for growth, creativity, and strategic action. Adaptability enhances opportunity recognition. The world is constantly evolving and opportunities often appear in unexpected forms. Those who cling to a rigid plan, resist change, or ignore signals miss potential breakthroughs. Adaptable people remain alert, recognize shifts in markets, trends, and circumstances, and seize advantage where others hesitate. Adaptability enables you to act decisively, capitalize on new circumstances, and maximize potential. It turns uncertainty into possibility, risk into strategy, and disruption into a competitive edge. Adaptability requires humility because it involves acknowledging that past method may no longer work. Pride can prevent adjustment, causing stagnation and failure. Humility allows you to recognize limitation, seek help, and change course when necessary. Adaptable people accept feedback, learn from mistakes, and prioritize outcomes over ego. Humility ensures that flexibility is applied intelligently and strategically, allowing continuous improvement and sustainable growth. Without humility, adaptability is superficial. With humility, it becomes a powerful driver of progress. Adaptability is a skill that builds confidence. When you know you can adjust to changing circumstances, overcome unexpected challenges, and pivot effectively, you develop trust in your abilities. Confidence does not come from predicting the future or controlling outcomes. It comes from the certainty that you can respond effectively, no matter what life presents. Adaptable individuals approach uncertainty with composure, courage, and decisiveness, knowing that flexibility and skill will carry them forward. Adaptability is strengthened through experience because repeated exposure to change trains you to respond effectively. Each challenge, failure, or unexpected event provides lessons in adjustment, problem solving, and strategy. Those who embrace change and adapt consistently develop a mindset of competence, agility, and resilience. Over time, adaptability becomes a natural response, not a conscious effort, allowing individuals to navigate complex and dynamic environments with confidence. Adaptability ensures relevance because the world does not remain static. Skills, industries, technologies, and relationships evolve constantly. Those who fail to adapt risk obsolescence, stagnation, or irrelevance. Adaptable individuals anticipate change, embrace new trends, and continuously refine their strategies, skills, and approaches. Relevance is maintained not through rigid expertise, but through the capacity to evolve, learn, and respond effectively to shifting circumstances. Adaptability is the competitive advantage that keeps you ahead in a rapidly changing world. Adaptability also fosters creativity because it encourages experimentation, exploration, and thinking beyond conventional boundaries. When you are willing to pivot, challenge assumptions, and consider alternative solutions, innovation naturally emerges. Adaptable individuals see possibilities where others see limitations, and they turn constraints into opportunities for creative solutions. Creativity thrives in dynamic environments, and adaptability provides the mindset and flexibility necessary to harness it. Adaptability is a mindset that combines awareness, flexibility, resilience, humility, and strategic thinking. It empowers you to respond effectively to change, navigate uncertainty, and leverage opportunities. Those who cultivate adaptability thrive in adversity, innovate under pressure, and achieve success in dynamic environments. Adaptability is not optional. It is essential for progress, achievement, and long-term impact. It allows you to transform obstacles into opportunities, setbacks into lessons, and change into advantage. Mastering adaptability is mastering the ability to thrive no matter what life presents, turning uncertainty into a platform for growth and success. Persistence is the engine that drives achievement because it transforms intention into action, into results. Most people fail not because they lack ability, talent, or opportunity, but because they give up too soon. They stop when progress feels slow, when challenges appear, or when outcomes are delayed. Persistence is the ability to continue moving forward, day after day, effort after effort, regardless of obstacles, setbacks, or temporary failure. It is the commitment to act consistently in the direction of your goals until they are realized. Persistence is the trait that separates those who dream from those who achieve, those who start from those who finish, and those who wish from those who win. Persistence requires belief in yourself because challenges will test your resolve and setbacks will tempt you to quit. When you believe in your ability, your purpose, and your vision, giving up becomes unthinkable. Self-belief fuels determination because it reminds you that obstacles are temporary and that your efforts are meaningful. Without belief, persistence is fragile. With belief, persistence becomes unstoppable. You develop trust in your capacity to overcome, endure, and achieve. You learn to act with conviction even when circumstances are unfavorable and to keep moving forward when others falter. Persistence demands resilience because life will throw challenges, failure, and disappointments in your path. Those who persist view setbacks as temporary hurdles rather than permanent defeats. Each failure becomes a lesson, each obstacle a training ground, and each delay an opportunity to grow stronger. Resilience allows you to endure the pressures of persistence, maintaining focus and energy when results are not immediate. Persistence without resilience is easily broken. Resilience without persistence is wasted potential. Together, they ensure that you continue forward even when progress is slow or uncertain. Persistence requires clarity of purpose because you cannot persist without knowing what you are working toward. Goals give direction to effort, meaning to sacrifice, and structure to action. Without clarity, persistence becomes random, scattered, and inefficient. When you are clear about your destination, every effort, every choice, and every action aligns with your vision. Clarity ensures that persistence is strategic, focused, and impactful. It transforms repeated effort into progress, repeated action into mastery, and repeated focus into results. Persistence is fueled by discipline because motivation is unreliable. Motivation comes and goes. It is influenced by mood, circumstance, and external validation. Discipline, reinforced through persistent action, ensures that you continue regardless of how you feel. Each act of discipline strengthens the habit of persistence, creating momentum that carries you forward. Discipline turns persistence from a fleeting effort into a lifestyle, a daily commitment to showing up, taking action, and pushing forward no matter the challenges you face. Persistence builds character because it requires patience, sacrifice, and endurance. The person who persists in the face of difficulty develops mental toughness, emotional strength, and integrity. Each obstacle overcome, each delay endured, and each challenge met with determination strengthens resolve. Persistence teaches humility because it reminds you that success is rarely immediate and that effort must be sustained over time. It cultivates gratitude because progress is appreciated only after effort is consistently applied. Persistence shapes the individual, forging habits, mindset, and resilience that become the foundation for lasting achievement. Persistence creates momentum because action repeated over time compounds into results. Each step taken, each task completed, and each challenge overcome builds energy and confidence for the next. Momentum transforms effort into acceleration, small gains into substantial progress, and consistent work into extraordinary outcomes. Without persistence, momentum is lost, and potential remains unrealized. With persistence, even modest efforts, when sustained, produce exponential results. The power of persistence lies not in immediate impact, but in the cumulative effect of sustained, deliberate action. Persistence reinforces accountability because it demands that you follow through on commitment. Each day of persistent effort is a choice to honor your goals, priorities, and responsibilities. Excuses, distractions, and avoidance are not options for the persistent individual. Accountability ensures that persistence is meaningful, focused, and intentional. It aligns actions with objectives, maintains integrity, and tracks progress over time. Persistence without accountability may dissipate in scattered action. Accountability without persistence produces inconsistent results. Together, they drop achievement. Persistence strengthens problem solving because it forces you to confront challenges repeatedly until solutions are found. Those who quit at the first obstacle never learn the value of creative thinking, adaptation, and perseverance. Persistent individuals face problems head on, experiment with strategies, and refine their approach until obstacles are overcome. Each difficulty encountered, each failure endured, and each solution discovered builds experience and confidence. Persistence transforms challenge into opportunity and frustration into mastery, creating individuals capable of achieving in the face of adversity. Persistence requires courage because it demands action in the presence of fear, uncertainty, and risk. Challenges often provoke doubt, insecurity, and hesitation, but the persistent individual pushes forward regardless. Courage fuels persistence by reinforcing the belief that effort, discipline, and focus will ultimately produce results. Without courage, persistence falters in the face of resistance. With courage, persistence becomes relentless, unstoppable, and transformative. Each courageous act reinforces the habit of persistence, creating a cycle of action, confidence, and growth. Persistence is strengthened by vision because knowing the destination motivates continued effort. Without a clear goal, repeated action may feel meaningless, leading to discouragement and fatigue. A compelling vision provides purpose, direction, inspiration for persistent effort. It reminds you why you started, what is at stake, and what is possible if you continue. Vision and persistence together create alignment. Vision sets the destination, and persistence ensures that you continue moving toward it until it is reached. Without vision, persistence can be aimless. With vision, it becomes unstoppable. Persistence builds confidence because every challenge overcome reinforces self-belief. Each failure endured, obstacle navigated, and task completed strengthens the knowledge that you are capable of achievement. Confidence grows as you prove to yourself day after day that you can handle difficulty, endure setbacks, and continue acting toward your goals. Persistent action reinforces the mindset that no matter the challenge, you can overcome, adapt, and succeed. Confidence derived from persistence, grounded in experience, effort, and repeated success over time. Persistence drives mastery because excellence is achieved through repeated practice, sustained effort, and continuous learning. Skills, knowledge, and abilities are developed incrementally through persistent action. Those who quit prematurely never reach mastery because they abandon the process before results compound. Persistence ensures that effort is continuous, consistent, and deliberate, allowing progress to accumulate until exceptional competence is achieved. Persistence transforms ordinary action into extraordinary action, into extraordinary performance, effort into expertise, and repetition into mastery. Persistence inspires others because it demonstrates commitment, determination, and resilience. People are motivated by examples of those who refuse to quit, who endure challenges, and who continue striving despite obstacles. Persistence creates a ripple effect. It encourages teams and communities to adopt a mindset of endurance, effort, and action. Leaders who embody persistence cultivate cultures of accountability, resilience, and achievement. Persistence becomes not only a personal trait, but a source of influence, inspiration, and empowerment for others. Persistence requires humility because it demands recognition that's rarely immediate, smooth, or easy. The persistent individual accepts that progress takes time, that setbacks are part of the process, and that failure is a teacher rather than a defeat. Humility allows you to learn from mistakes, adjust strategies, and continue moving forward. It keeps arrogance and impatience from undermining effort. Persistence without humility risks frustration and burnout. Persistence with humility ensures sustainable, long-term success. Persistence transforms failure into opportunity. Every mistake, every setback, and every challenge becomes a lesson, a test, and a chance to refine strategy. Those who give up never experience the growth that failure offers. The persistent individual views failure as temporary, instructive, and necessary. Persistence turns obstacles into milestones, errors into insights, and adversity into training for future achievement. It ensures that effort is never wasted, progress is always cumulative, and growth is continuous. Persistence is the ultimate determinant of success because talent, opportunity, and knowledge are secondary to sustained action. Ordinary individuals who persist outperform talented individuals who quit, visionaries who give up, and dreamers who delay. Persistence ensures that effort, focus, and discipline translate into tangible outcomes. It is the trait that turns intention into results, potential into performance, and ambition into reality. Without persistence, dreams remain unfulfilled, plans remain incomplete, and talent remains wasted. With persistence, extraordinary achievement becomes inevitable. Persistence completes the foundation of personal and professional growth because it binds together clarity, discipline, vision, resilience, courage, and focus. It ensures that every principle, strategy, and skill learned is applied consistently until results are achieved. Persistence reinforces habits, amplifies effort, and magnifies impact. It is the relentless commitment to action that separates those who try from those who succeed, those who dream from those who accomplish, and those who quit from those who finish. Mastering persistence is mastering the ability to turn challenges into triumphs, setbacks into progress, and effort into lasting achievement.